Hey, what's going on, traders? Going 6 for 6 today. Nothing too big. A lot of it was, either SSR, a little bit sketch, whatever the case may be, bigger company, volume out of nowhere. There was something on each ticker that kind of made it not an A plus type setup. So we ended up taking smaller size on most of them, but they ended up working out fairly decently. Gave back a little bit on one of our first trades, which we'll jump to. But before I do, just want to say like and subscribe. Always appreciate that support. If at any point you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave those down below. And if you ever need to maybe get in contact with me after hours, you can find me on Twitter or Discord. Those links are down below. And as always, I appreciate everything that you guys do. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't still be making these videos. So I appreciate the support. MGNI, first trade. We are, look at that thing, kept on grinding much higher. So this is one of those charts that I'm always looking for to show people on why didn't you hold the leftovers? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you scale out to the downside? Well, because here's one of those charts where if you just hold and hold and hold, etc., it's not always going to work out. But anyways, you guys, if you've been around for a while, you start to see the same thing over and over again. You see previous resistance, you see a big move. I started this one a little early, maybe a little FOMO right at the bell. Just wanted to get started. Took 100 shares here at 787. Was a nice move up through the $0.50. I don't quite remember this one, to be completely honest, as far as if it was still kind of moving, and I may have preemptively hit the button here, not really waiting for the jiggle. But as you can see, it continued, got all the way up to 841, and we ended up taking an ad there at 817, scaled out on the way down. And believe it or not, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of moving, but not really. And I do remember this being this. Yeah, this was SSR. So I remember having to put orders out too. So I was kind of just, it's hard to wait for something that's jiggling and it's SSR, because then you can't just hit the bid and get in. You have to try to get in on the ask, which is just a pain. But anyways, I was looking around at other charts, and I believe I actually took another trade on our next one, which was Redfin, while this was happening. And I had forgot that I still had some leftovers here, or what I thought was leftovers. It was actually a little bit bigger than I thought. It was actually half my starter size, which I consider about 25% of my starter size leftovers, but I was still at 50%. And that was enough to where if I had let this go all the way back to the highs, it would have been a red trade. So I wasn't too happy with that. So when it started to come back up, our average was 802, I believe. And so when it came up, I was basically looking to try to let this come back down. So I figured if I'm going to let this come down, I'll let it make its move. Once I feel like it's the top, I'm going to go ahead and get an ad to bring my average up and just use that as the stop. So that way I can't lose any more than I already have, or not lose, but give back. So it starts to come down. Our average was now 811. Obviously I was looking for the 8 test. As you can see, it was at 811, went to 810, 809, and then 809 again. And then it started to come up. Once I realized it wasn't going to go down and test 8, this last time, once it started moving back up, I took half off at 816, figuring, well, obviously not going to let this fully go against me, which, I mean, it basically was. Our stop was what, 26? Yeah. And we ended up getting filled at 27. So it took half off here just in case I was wrong, but I wasn't. It did end up going higher. And as you can see, this one ended up grinding the rest of the day, not even coming close to coming back down. It's just been up the rest of the day. Next trade was on Redfin. You can probably start scrolling through these a little faster. That was one of the only ones I got to add on. But again, kind of grinded up here in the pre-market, and then right at the bell, this made a nice move on some volume. As you can see, the candles were much bigger, a decent little move. Was really hoping to get through 450. It didn't. Hit this 436 and took it off at 419. Was really just kind of looking for half that move. We draw the lines here. You can see right around there, it's about half the move. So pretty happy with that trade. It was a quick one, wasn't a great one. Also SSR. So again, there was a pretty common theme today that nothing was really that great. And then we actually sat around for a while. That cover was at 946. Our next trade wasn't until 1052, which was on Amazon actually. So if we scroll out, you're going to see a pretty nice move from Amazon. Kind of grindy all morning. And then I even drew the line there, previous resistance. And then we started to get a push up through there. And then boom, we actually got a really nice candle considering it was Amazon. Now, in the back of my head, I knew that we were pretty close to 100. So I was like, this could try to run up to 100. But But I started this with such small size. I literally took 10 shares because one, it's Amazon, it's a huge company. Two, it's Amazon, it's Amazon. And three, I knew that this could easily go to 100 being this close to it. I did actually have an ad out at 98.77. So it got 8 cents away from my ad. I had the order out. Then it came all the way down. My average was here at 69. I had to take profit out at 20. I think it was 26. It was like 26 or 27. I could probably check. 23. It was at 23. And it came all the way down, basically a whole $1.30 and stopped at 34. It got within 10 cents of where my take profit was. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But it did come down. It gave us our fill at 23. I took 70% off and I was hoping that we could get those extra 3 shares to come down and retest that previous resistance. But it started to bounce back up and I wasn't going to let this go through my average because we didn't get that ad to bring our average up. So I took it off as it was breaking it. And as you can see, it did go up through, tried high of day. And then this kind of went sideways for a bit and then finally did break down and retest that previous high. I mean, support and resistance lines, guys, I mean, they are a real thing. That's why I like to try to get to this point, but I'm not willing to let this thing continue against me because faster the trend or faster the move, the weaker the trend. I'm looking for the initial move into the pullback. What it does after that, again, Amazon went sideways and then down. What did MGNI do, right? It did the exact opposite. It pulled back and then it grinded up the entire day. I don't care what it does after we get that pullback. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that pullback. That's my edge. On to the next trade. SPWR and Run. These were running together. And these were the combination of my other 3 trades. So I was watching Run and Run looked pretty good, but SPWR just looked better, right? If you scroll out, nice extension. It was extending away. At this point, Run was making a move, but it was like not that extended. And SPR made its move first. It actually made a fast move while Run was still kind of just chilling up at its highs. And so when this popped up to 22.33, I actually thought I hit this when the bid was at 22.30, but got filled at 22.21, came down, scaled out, took 35 of the 50 off, and then took the other 15 on that nice little drop. And as you can see, it went right back to the highs. So again, fast move into the pullback. That's what I'm looking for, right? Fast move into a pullback. Faster the move, the weaker the trend, right? The faster the move, the more high probability chance that it's going to pull back. It's just what tickers, it's just how it works. That's why I'm so consistent with these trades. I don't know, it looks the same over and over again. It's because I am doing essentially the same thing over and over again. So then, as you can see, another example, got the pullback, went to high day and actually made a decent little run. And then what did it do? It kind of went sideways, didn't pull back to that same area again. But I mean, this is one of those ones where if you would have kept adding, it would have pulled back enough probably for you. So after this first one on SPWR, this actually started to feel a little grindy. But Run, on the other hand, this was that first move that I was talking about that we traded SPWR. And as it went through the highs, this is when Run actually started to put in some decent candles and some decent volume. This one was a little bit frustrating. The first entry. I didn't mind the first entry. I was probably a little, again, preemptive with it. I got in just because I like those 20-cent levels above key areas, but it didn't really jiggle at that point. I just kind of hit it like at the first sign of the ask, like just stop. Like it didn't like bid, ask. It was just like ask. And then it kind of paused and then it decided to keep going. So I was a little frustrated with myself that I kind of got into that a little bit too quick. And then I didn't want to be too quick to add when this went up towards 29.70. 29.70 is where it was. We got filled. This is not right. Why is it telling me that's a different? The candle went to 30.28. We got filled at 29.71. Okay. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. But anyways, we get that first trade. It comes back down. We didn't get an ad because I didn't want them to be too close together in case Run decided to be a little crazy, which as you can see, it can be. So when we got that pullback, we just went ahead and took it off and was happy. Because if you really look at it, look at the top of this line, look at the top of this line, top of like support and resistance now. And I was about halfway, right? That's what I look for. I look for about 50%. It's typically what you get out of a pullback if it's strong. And then if you want to try to keep leftovers, looking for that previous resistance area to get hit, that's awesome. So then run goes back up, makes a new high, and puts in a really nice candle. Um, this one, I actually was ready to add at 3170, like 3170s. And it went to like 31, what did I get to? 3163. So this was the best move I saw all day. This move here extended away. There was still no real pullback. So it was real nice that we got this big push. And I was just really hoping that we got more out of that push to get an ad. But started this one a little bit early as well, 3114, but it did come down. And I even went for a little bit more, looking for that nice 31 break. Because again, we still hadn't had a pullback. I figured we were going to at least get a retest of that 3028 area, and we kind of did. So I was pretty happy with this trade overall. Obviously, if I would have scaled out, that thing would have been nice. It came all the way down back to that previous resistance, and look at where it bounced right off of it. Important resistance, guys, they are a real thing. They do get used all the time. I mean, even here, it wasn't perfect, but made a new high, came down, bounced right off that area, and then moved higher, came up, was strong. So it only got about 50%, went up, made that new move, came down, retested that previous resistance and used it as support. It happens all day, every day. I'm trying to get a lot better. That's why I've been trying to scale out of my trades a lot more often now, because I'm looking to try to capitalize on getting that little extra bit. Unfortunately, the ones that I did scale out today didn't really work too well. They all came back up and got me, and is what it is. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And if you want to come catch me trade all this stuff live, I'll be live tomorrow morning. I'm live every morning the market's open, from 9:20-ish to like 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock, depending on how the market's doing around lunchtime. So I'll see you then. And if not, I'll catch you in the recap video tomorrow. Peace.